All right. We are about 3 minutes before we get started. And so we are excited again to be able to come to you, Father's Matter from Compassion Outreach of America. We ask that you would just hold on for a second, a couple minutes, and we will be on live. We also ask that you would share this link with someone else. Actually, to come on to be a part of Barbershop Talk tonight. So give us about 2 more minutes. It'll be 7 o'clock, and we will get started. Maybe next week I'll have some music or something, and I can bust a couple moves for you guys.
Intro song.
Yes, intro song. Yeah. So, but once again, we ask that you would just bear with us. At 7 o'clock, we will begin our show.
Share the feed.
Oh, I had some Michael Jackson on that. Billie Jean. I listened to Billie Jean this morning.
Okay. Getting motivated.
Yeah, I listened to Billie Jean this morning. On Michael Jackson on Change the Radio. I was like, I wonder if I play that tonight. People would be excited about that.
Yeah, Michael Jackson, man, he's always a hit. No matter what.
All right. We got people calling. Could you give us a couple thumbs up? Thumbs up. Awesome. It is 7 o'clock. We are going to go ahead and get started. Once again, we thank you for those who have tuned in tonight for the Barbershop Talk. And like I said, we know that there's nothing but experts and there's nothing but wisdom that come from Barbershop Talk. You know what I'm talking about. When you go to the barbershop, you give a topic and everybody kind of chime in. That's where all the experts all the knowledge. Yes. So we thank you that you would come to be with us at a Barbershop Talk. My name is Robert Burnside. I'm the founder of Compassion Outreach of America. And this is Ronnie King. He's going to be our father sharing his story tonight. And we're going to have Frank Robertson is going to be our expert. He's from Philadelphia. He's going to come in a little later on and to share with us some strategic planning and time management, how to do this as a father. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m., we're going to be having this barbershop talk. We got several different topics that we're going to be addressing. We're going to be talking about fathers who are disabled. How does that work? We're going to be talking about how to make sure you have all your paperwork in order, because I said it last week. I know a guy. He's going to be on the fourth week, but he's going to be talking about how he was in Atlanta and he was not able to advocate for his kids because it wasn't that he was not in his kid's life. It was just because he didn't have his paperwork in order. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about fathers who are in college. How do they balance that? How do they deal with that? We're going to be talking about fathers as the primary role caretaker of their kids. Single parents, but it's the father. So we're going to be talking about that. Just several other topics. We're going to be talking about blended families. Someone asked us last week is that we would add that to be a part of our topics with blended families. So we're going to talk about that. And once again, we want you to also add any topics that you think about that we can have on this show. Once it's about uplifting and informing fathers. That's what this is all about. It's about uplifting and informing fathers. I'm going to read this off to you. This is research we got from, this is research that we have. And once again, we can send this research to you. I want to send this research to you. So my email is robert@compassionoutreachoa.org. Once again, it's robert@compassionoutreachoa.org. oa.org. I can send you this research, but I'm just going to read straight from this article. It says fathers who are in their kids' lives, like actively in their kids' life, fathers that's in the homes and fathers that's not in the homes, but fathers that's actively in their kids' life, it possibly impact their lives. It says this: when fathers are positively in their lives, it protects kids from engaging in delinquent and unhealthy behaviors. Right? It it also less their chances of doing drugs, stealing. They have fewer problems with depression, sadness, and lying. All of these things, when fathers are actively engaging in their kids' life, it positively impacts those kids. And so we want to just promote that. And so tonight we got Ronnie King here tonight. He is going to share his story. This guy here is a man of many talents and always on the move and always on the go. Young professional, and him and his family and I brought him on because I want him to talk. I want him to share about how he had this career where he's the mover and shaker and entrepreneur also, but how he balanced these things out and engage in his kid's life. So Ronnie King, we're going to let Ronnie King come and he's going to share off. And if you have any questions specific, we want you to kind of hold it at the end, because we're going to allow you to have an opportunity at the end to send questions in and he will be able to respond to them. Also, Frank Robinson, who we'll have on just a little bit later, will be able to respond to your questions. Ronnie King.
Awesome. Thank you, Brother Rob. Well, look, you guys, again, my name is Ronnie King, and I'm really excited to be here to be able to share with you guys. I live a pretty full life. I have a beautiful wife. I have 3 kids in the home. I also have an older kid who doesn't live in the house, but we were always busy. And when Robert asked me to come on and just talk about my schedule, he added a whole nother layer of stress that was
I'm sorry, man.
that was there already, man. But no, so yeah, I guess I'll walk you guys through kind of what I deal with on a daily basis. But a little background. So I do work here in the city. I work a full-time job, maybe about 50 hours a week, or close to 50, maybe sometimes more, sometimes less. But I do that while playing a really involved role in the care of my three little ones who are 5 and under, 5 years and under. And so a typical day for me, and I miss my schedule during Monday through Friday, is first off, I'll backtrack. I start here. I have a set role and responsibility that falls on me, and my wife has one that falls on her when it comes to taking care of the kids and their schedule. So I'm in charge of morning duty, okay? So Morning duty is me. So I have a 5-year-old who goes to one school, I have a 3-year-old who goes to another school, and I have a 1-year-old who goes to a sitter. And so every morning it's stress, you know. And so but the good thing about it is when I plan and I prepare, I'm actually able to do it successfully. So a typical morning for me is waking up at 5:30. Honestly, if I don't wake up at 5:30, I wake up a little later. It's like the chances of a natural disaster, cataclysmic downturn in the day, you know, increase substantially, because my schedule is what, you know, ushers or dictates my kid's schedule. Each kid has their own routine, right? Each one of them have to be woken up a certain way. Each one of them go to bed a certain way. But in the morning time, it's unique to each kid. So my son is the early riser. He has to get up at 6:30. If he doesn't get up at 6:30, we're not going to be able to get him to school on time, or if we do, we're rushing, and it's creating another level of stress that I'll probably talk about a little bit later that I try to avoid. Okay, but so typically my son is up. Okay, I'm having to make sure that he has lunch, which if I don't do his lunch in advance the night before, that means when I wake up at 5:30, I may not be resting and getting my mind right. I may be in there getting lunch. Typically, I'll iron their clothes in the morning time as well, after they're laid out at least at night, and that gives me some time to kind of get my body moving and things like that, so that I can, do some things, kind of get them together. So 6:30 hits, my son has to get up. My daughter, on the other hand, we're adjusting. She just started riding the school bus, so things are a little bit different now this week. But so what ends up happening for her is I end up having to get her up at 7, or close to 7. All right. If she is not awake by 7, then we're not gonna get to school on time.
Well, it's a balancing, man.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
It's a really huge balance. And then my youngest daughter, she wakes up in between. And so what I'm doing in the morning time is I'm trying to make sure I have everything outlined. But the prep starts really the day before. For one, I got to get my mind right every day because, again, with the morning routine, there goes lunch, there goes clothes, there goes getting them off to school at a certain time, brushing their teeth. The necessities, that stuff has to happen in the morning time. If not, then they go to school and they don't brush their teeth. And the thing is, every day is not a success. Most days we win, but I can tell you some days we face the winning team and it's not us. Like we're there, we're rushing, we try to beat the bullet, but sometimes we don't. But the main thing is every day it's a challenge and we try. So one of the things I do incorporate in the morning times is a way to try to connect with the kids. I do see how my routine in the morning helps them throughout their day, and it really helps, to build a bond with my kids in the morning time. If I'm traveling, if I'm taking them to school, we talk in the car. That's one space where I get an opportunity to really talk to the kids in the morning times.
That's good, yeah.
Try to encourage them about their day. Say, hey, look, my son, he's been working on making sure you get good marks every day in school. That doesn't happen, but in the day in the morning, that's when I encourage him. I'm like, hey, big guy, we got to do well in school today. So, just think about this. What do you need to do in order to make sure you do well in school? I need to take a nap.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Is the 50 hours work, or is 50 hours, is this a part of that 50-hour work week? Or
No. Okay, so 50 hours for my job. Okay, I work with the Urban League. If anyone knows the Urban League, we work. Okay, the Urban League is a national nonprofit, and we serve the community, and so we are constantly working. So those 50 hours is probably it's added to an additional, I don't know, maybe seem like 70 hours a day. You caught that right? 70 hours a day. Yeah. It's impossible. So we add that to a really, really busy schedule. So basically, I'm always tired. You know what I mean? I'm always tired. In fact, I'm sleeping right now. You just don't know it. I'm sleep talking. Okay, and that's generally how my days go. But what ends up happening for me, though, is that I try to really rely on getting things done in advance. So snack time, lunchtime. If I know I'm going to have a really busy day, or if I'm going to be really, really stressed, I try to prepare that stuff the night before. It doesn't always happen. And there have been times, so I'm on morning shift now with the kids. But occasionally my wife travels for work, so I'm in there. I'm dropping them off in the morning and picking them up in the evening. And it just becomes a really, really, really huge stressor. But my biggest things are routine, trying to leave on time, having hard stops when I need to. If it's at work, hard stop, with eating with the kids in the morning for breakfast. Breakfast time is now. If you're not eating now, I know there's going to be either I'm going to have to cut their breakfast short, they're going to have to get something to go, or we're going to have to end up taking away one piece of their breakfast.
So I'm gonna ask this question: what about other additional activities? Because right now you said you're talking about 50 hours at work.
Yeah.
You're talking about the additional hours per day per week for getting them to school. What about any? You guys don't about like zoo or anything else? Like how do you, man? I'm like really like, man. I'm like,
okay,
boy.
Yeah. I see the hearts going up there too. That's my wife, by the way.
I'm telling you, man.
She
you need
knows.
to sell that juice that you own. Or
Look,
something.
man. Look, I wish I could sell it. Sometimes I don't take it and I crash. But so the days are really, really long. The weekends are just as busy. The kids, they're not in a whole lot of extracurriculars, but it's really important that we find time for them to really play and things like that. And so with my schedule, it's always cut short. I have to sacrifice a lot. That's one of the things that as an adult, I've grown to sort of appreciate, but then, and it was a struggle earlier on. I've grown to appreciate because there are times when I see the fruits of, my sacrifice. But my schedule is always dependent on what they have going on. There's always a birthday. There's only 26 kids in my daughter's class, but somebody has a birthday every weekend. I don't know how that works. And then my son, either on the weekends we go to the library, and you got to wake up just as early on Saturdays to kind of get that done. So yeah, I mean, it's really, really stressful at times. But, if the stress gets reduced, the more you're prepared. And I think that I try to do my best to be prepared. Most days I don't. Not most days I don't. Most days I do actually get them to school on time. But most days I scramble if I'm not 100% prepared to get things done, in advance, in a sense. So, yeah, it's a work.
So, is there any other dads out there who can say that, man, I work 70 hours a week? Like I mean, that's constant stress.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so, and then too, I was thinking about it. One of the things I think helps me is that I I use resources, you know what I mean? I always I constantly look up resources, and my wife does as well. And just to try to better manage, to better understand, my kids and how to relate to them, so that it doesn't make these experiences super stressful for them. I carry a lot of stress. Most parents do, especially the men. I mean, we carry more stress than the women, but we don't really show it a lot of the times because we're fathers.
Yeah.
And fathers mean you're a protector, provider, hero, maintenance man. You're worker, you're everything. And so, and with all of that, you gotta try to figure out ways to successfully do that. And so I constantly find resources online. I'm constantly, relying on my wife. She buys books all the time about raising the kids and really just how do you manage all of this stuff. I'm not the best when it comes to, managing the kids all the time, but I set the bar kind of high for myself, so I still do a decent job. You know what I mean? And my kids, I think we see some really good success from our kids. And when they struggle, I see where I could have helped them to do a little bit better.
Man, but I mean, I know you, Ronnie, and I know your kids, man, and I love your kids, and they are some awesome kids. But
cool.
I mean, I'm not in your world like this, but just to hear, I mean, I know a little bit, right? But just to hear, like, just the intensity of, of every day being a father, like, it's pretty awesome, man. I do want to bring in Frank. We're going to call Frank up and have him to come in and just share a little bit. And remember, at the end, we'll have opportunities. You can send in questions, and we'll try to answer those things for you. Let's get Frank on the telephone right now. Man, boy, Ronnie.
Yeah, it's real, man. It's real. That's just the morning routine, Rob. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Evening is a whole nother ball game,
Boy, Hey, Frank. We got Frank here, and we have Frank Robinson here from Cairo's development group, and he is our professional for today. He is going to share with us, like he does with those who he served or work with in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, woo woo.
Right.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Philly. All right.
And so we're super excited to have Frank here with us today. And Frank is he's a manager, but he also coaches. And so we want Frank to just share with us about some time management skills. Give us some tips. Well, first of all, tell you who you are and a little bit what you do, and we want you to give us some tips that we can maybe take today to apply to our life to be a better father. Like Ronnie talked about, just all of this time, and he mentioned several times, he's talked about stress. I understand. I definitely understand about the stress. My youngest is 12 years old, but we raised two other kids, but I understand about the stress of all these things. And so just some tips that we can apply to our life that would help us to reduce some of the stress. All right?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me. And I always love coming to New Orleans, so I look forward to getting down there. And I tell you, I actually kind of wonder why you need me. Ronnie did such a good job. I think you said a lot of good things, and I mean a lot of real things.
Thanks, man.
We are in a world where our employers are expecting a lot from us. Especially I heard about the Urban League, and we all have jobs. We're trying to run the business. We're trying to do ministry. We're trying to do things. It's about balance. But I think that one of the things that I heard, which I thought was very, very good, is about making a plan, having a plan. And look, the plan has to fit the family. And so your family has a unique makeup where you have two busy executives, you have three children under 5, but other families are made up different. Some people are not as good at planning as other people. So it's about finding out what works for your family, kind of the things you want to do, but always communicating. And one of the other things I would say is that remind us is that we're not perfect. We make these great plans. We try to do the right things. A lot of the stress is a lot of times is the anxiety to try to get it right all the time. So I would say, everybody needs grace. So kind of learn from your mistakes. Let yourself off the hook. We need grace in the fact that we need to, we all mess up. As parents, we mess up. Our kids mess up. And so when schedules don't go as quite right, let us, let each other off the hook. The other thing I heard was sacrifice. I thought that was a very good one. We do sacrifice as fathers, particularly making sure that we acknowledge the sacrifice. So when your child does something that's great and they're sacrificing, and make sure that they're fitting to the family, acknowledge the sacrifice. When your wife is doing something, or if you're not married, your person you're partnering with is doing something, making sure that you acknowledge and recognize the sacrifice. I think it means a lot when, particularly as fathers, when we recognize the sacrifice that other people are making to make sure that things work in the family unit. Does that make a little sense right there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
And I think you said a lot of times, I think being communicative is important, but that time is so important. So making sure that you cherish that time. One of the things that my daughter taught me, my daughter's 15, one of the things her girlfriends do at once is that they all put their phones in the middle of the table and they kind of enjoy each other. And finding ways to unplug, because we are plugged in because, work seems to be 24 hours now. So finding ways to make sure that we're unplugging for those of us who have older kids, making sure that they're unplugged, even with younger kids where they have their tablets and things like that, finding ways to do things that are non-electronic based. So from my daughter, what we started was she did board games. We play board games to this day because board games allows us to unplug. It allows us time to do things. So finding ways to be creative like that. And the other thing I like is that you need to empower your kids. And so allow them to make small decisions and as they grow, allow them to be a part of planning process. One of the things my parents did was that we were on vacation. We got to pick some aspects of the vacation that we wanted to do, and that allowed us to be a part of it. That taught us some things about being empowered and how about decision making. So those are some of the things that I've done. But I tell you, Ronnie, you're doing a good job, man. I think that you have sit years through things out the start. I think your restaurant is. And it's really true because she agrees with everything you just said. I love it.
Thank you, Frank.
Well, I do appreciate you, Frank, for coming in, and I just want to say this, that you have to be. It's about being intentional. It's about being intentional. I with my kids, I had to learn that if I don't plan it, it usually don't happen. You know, and
right.
it's about I think the whole planning the part, like you're saying, being proactive with this, like how my schedule gonna lay out and what I'm gonna do with my kids on the weekend. And so just want to encourage dads to, you know, you want to be intentional with your time with your kids. If you do not plan it, it usually won't happen. So we want to encourage dads, fathers to do that. You know, I know most of us got like the kid's birthday on our calendar, but I want to ask if you would put some time with your kids on your calendar. Like I'm talking about, hey, I'm going to spend 2 hours this weekend with my kids. I'm gonna put it on the calendar, and I'm gonna work hard at executing it. And I like something Frank said. Sometimes you may not get it that week. You might mess up. You might, but receive grace. Receive that grace. Say, you know what? I'm going to do better next week. So I want to encourage dads to do that this week. When you're making your calendar, when you look at your schedule, if you put it on your iPhone or Android, whatever you have, when you or just writing it out, put some time on there that you're going to be intentionally spending time with your kid this week. And once again, we do appreciate you guys for tuning in. And next week we share this link with others, because we're all about uplifting and also informing fathers. I want to talk a little bit more about Fathers Matter. Father Matters, we have 4 initiatives that we have here. First one is Barbershop Talk. Barbershop Talk. Barbershop Talk has 2 prongs. This is one, the Facebook Live, and also actually we use Barbershop Talk to actually invite fathers in and allow them to have an opportunity to see if they want to be a part of the Fathers Matter program. Once again, it's a general topic that we talk about and everybody get a chance to chime in. And we know, like at the barbershop, we know that all the experts at the barbershop. All right. And so our second initiative is Caveman. Caveman is our small groups where fathers can want to go to the next level. It's a 12-week curriculum that we have. Also, we offer a 3-day training on doing racism, and then we also offer a 2-day class on facilitating small groups. So that person who become a part of the Caveman, that person will become an ambassador father. That father would become a facilitator, and they would facilitate groups. The third initiative that we have, it's our date night. And no, we're not trying to put the man back with his mother of his kid. That's not what we're doing. It's all about the father having a healthy relationship with whoever that significant other is. If it's his wife, or if it's whoever that person may be, that significant other, that we want to help cultivate that relationships. And the fourth one is family time. Family time is where we bring the whole family together, and we have activities just to be able to create a healthy environment that the family can just participate and have fun together. And we want to promote our Father's Day weekend. Now, we didn't say Father's Day, not just June. In June, that one Sunday. No, we do Father Day weekend. So that'll be that Friday night. We do a barbecue and we do the bike rides. And here in New Orleans, we have this thing where people go ride bikes. They have lights all on their bikes. Oh yeah. Bring the whole family out. We did this last year. It was really great. Also, we on that Saturday we do barbecue again, and we do 3-on-3 basketball. So last year we did 3-on-3 basketball with the father and the son. But once the dad said, no, I don't have any sons. So what about my daughter? So this year we're doing 3-on-3 basketball, right? But it's gonna be for the whole family.
All right. Right?
And we gave away $500 for the first place and a certificate, and now $250 for the second place. And then on Sunday we have we calling it the Father's Connect group, right? Connect time, Father Connect time. On Sundays, this is where we come together. We share about fatherhood, and we give the presents to the kids, to the fathers, and they have time with their family. So we really want the city, because last year we only focused on the Upper Ninth Ward area, but we're broadening this thing out for the whole city can participate in our Father's Day weekend. And so I think it'll be an awesome time that we have. So once again, we thank you for being with us here at the Barbershop Talk Fathers Matter. We are to uplift and to inform dads. If you have any questions, we can get a little closer. If you have any questions for Frank or for Ronnie, you can do it at this time.
And Frank, I just want to mention to you, man, while you're on the phone, I appreciate what you were saying, particularly about, giving yourself a little grace when you don't meet your goals or you fall short, and then doing the same for your spouse or your significant other. Also, the piece about unplugging. So my wife is more in tune to that than I am. I'm a techie man. I constantly have a phone in my hand. But I think it's really important, especially now that kids are using technology. Even my 5-year-old has a pad or a tablet now for school, and she wants to get on it all the time.
I want to know how many kids do you have?
I have 4 kids. 13, 5, 3, and 1.
Wow.
So yeah, appreciate that, Frank.
No problem. I just thought it was great, and I thought about that. When you're talking about being intentional with your time, I also would say being intentional with what you want to do with the time. A lot of times as fathers, we're like, oh, what we're going to do, what we're going to do with those kids. So sometimes planning an activity and not leaving it to, if you're married, your spouse, and leaving it to the kids. Sometimes it makes a difference when you get just a little small time out of your day to plan something with them. So being intentional with the planning your time, which you talked about, but being intentional about how you're going to use the time is the other way too. I had to learn that because I have a daughter. She doesn't live with me, and so when she comes, like how we're going to spend our time, I had to really think about that and make sure I was engaging with her. So that helped me a lot. And we enjoy a better relationship because I engage like that. So that's important as well.
Awesome.
So the Father's Day, we want to know a little bit about the Father's Day weekend. It is a weekend we have during the Father's Day, is in June. I know I forgot the actual date, but I have that for you next week. But it's that weekend, so we do something on Friday night, which we do the barbecue and have food, so families don't have to really kind of go home and cook. They can just kind of go home, get whatever they want to do, come there. We have food ready for them, we cook, and then we do this bike ride where we do this bike ride throughout the city. We have bikes. We usually rent the bikes with the lights on it, unless somebody have them with those. We do that. We do the bike ride, and then on Saturday we do barbecue. But we have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and this is going to be open to the whole family. And then that Sunday we're going to have where the fathers connect together, and most likely we would do it at a Rise Academy. Is at a high school that we use to do events at. We will be meeting there on that Sunday and gathering together and just really just exalting the fathers once again. We're all about uplifting and informing dads. That's what we're all about. So we're asking that if you would come down and be a part of that. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will have those 3-day events happening for dads.
So you have two questions. I don't know if you have time for these two, but one for Frank, and it asks, Frank is, let me scroll down. Well, Frank is basically asking, I don't see, oh, here it is unplugged time successful with you and your home? With you and your daughter, is the unplugging of the technology and all of the good stuff, is that successful for you guys?
Yes, it's been very, very, very successful.
Awesome. And then there's another, I know this guy. He's talking about my niece, is my brother here. He said, can you give me some pointers on how to get my 4-year-old daughter up in the morning? Cold water. Cold water. You know what? Just a cup. It don't have to be a whole bucket, just a cup. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. For us though, so we have a pretty regimented bedtime. We don't meet it all the time, but the kids know at 7:30 it's bedtime. Now, occasionally my daughter may have homework, but at 7:30, if they're not in the bed, they're either halfway through their bedtime routine, or they know that they're rushing to get in bed because it's bedtime. And I think giving them that routine and starting to incorporate time management, even though they're not going to get the time management or even understand the timing, just say, hey, this is the time that you have to go to bed and that you wake up on time, and maybe even create a little challenge or a little reward system. Hey, if you wake up on time and you get up and you have your clothes on by a certain time in the morning, then you'll get this reward.